From how she built her career from the ground up to how Kevin Hunter single-handedly ruined everything the talk show host had created, this is the public unraveling of Wendy Williams. From 2008 up until 2021, Wendy Williams hosted the uber-popular, nationally syndicated show, The Wendy Williams Show. Over the years, the radio personality turned talk show host got a lot of heat for her controversial remarks, which some people branded as misogynistic, sexist, and downright cruel. There were critics, sure, but Wendy also had a very loyal following. They commended her for asking the questions other talk show hosts were too afraid to ask. In a way, Wendy profited from being controversial. She had haters overanalyzing her every move and fans who adored her for it. In any case, people would tune in to watch The Wendy Williams Show. So, whatever she was doing, it was working for her. Wendy branded her controversial remarks as her hot takes. They included speaking against the people who accused Michael Jackson of assault, claiming that they were lying for a payday, and making transphobic comments against Caitlyn Jenner. That's just scratching the surface. However, it's important to note that Wendy did possess some charming qualities. Critics applauded her for being vocal about her journey and personal struggles, providing a much-needed insight into the dark side of the industry and being able to connect with her fan base. The talk show host was on her way to becoming a multi-millionaire. She'd mastered the television formula and was doing everything right, even if it seemed over the top to some. But then everything toppled over. One day, Wendy went from being a popular talk show host to something of a has-been. The question on everyone's mind is, what went wrong for Wendy Williams? Let's rewind to get the full story. Wendy met her second husband, Kevin Hunter, sometime in 1994. The two dated for a while, became engaged, and eventually got married in 1997. In the year 2000, they welcomed their son, Kevin Samuel. Again, Wendy's never been one to shy away from talking about her personal life and struggles. She told everyone that she'd suffered multiple miscarriages toward the start of her relationship. This took a toll on her mental health. The one person who pulled her out of that slump was Kevin. He was there for her from day one. And when Wendy started gaining traction as a popular radio host, who'd be better than Kevin to assume the role of her agent and manager? The couple quickly became a powerhouse. Kevin would scout interviews, guests, and handle the management aspect of things, and Wendy was, of course, the face of the whole production. The two founded Wendy Williams Productions, started multiple charities together, and appeared publicly as a stable family unit. But things weren't as perfect as they seemed. In September 2017, the Daily Mail published an exclusive article that detailed Kevin's secret life. The article was based on a decade-long investigation, and it detailed how Kevin had been having an affair for 10 whole years. Kevin and massage therapist Sharina Hudson had met sometime in 2010. Over the years, Wendy's husband had gotten her a fully furnished mansion just 9 miles from his marital home. Wendy even claimed that he'd take Sharina out on dates in her Ferrari. While the details of Kevin's affair were shocking, everyone saw it coming. Wendy claimed that people had been warning her of her husband's infidelity for years. She even believed that Sharina wasn't the only woman he'd cheated on her with. She was just the one who stuck by the longest. In Wendy's own words, Kevin was a serial cheater. Kevin wasn't only causing problems in the couple's personal lives, but he was reportedly a pain to work around too. The crew on Wendy's show would frequently complain that he was a menace. They claimed that while Wendy was a joy to be around, Kevin was the opposite. Some people even called him an elitist, who'd go off on a tangent if he saw Wendy mingling with the crew. At this point, it was obvious that Kevin just wasn't a good guy, and he certainly wasn't a good guy for Wendy. Everyone, including Wendy herself, knew it. So, what did she decide to do about it? This might surprise you, but nothing. Wendy went back on the air after the Daily Mail exposed her husband's affair and acted like nothing had happened. She would have to address the rumors eventually, though. In perfect Wendy Williams fashion, the host showed everyone her ring and claimed that it wasn't coming off anytime soon. Years later, Wendy admitted that she knew the rumors were true. She had even hired a private investigator a few years ago to track Kevin and Sharina. She'd known before everyone else had. Still, it wasn't like she could just get up and leave. Kevin was getting sloppy about hiding his affair, but he still maintained that he hadn't cheated. Wendy claimed that she loved him too much to believe that he had. she'd give him the benefit of the doubt. On one episode of The Wendy Williams Show, she addressed the rumors and said that every marriage, including hers, had ups and downs. Wendy maintained a brave face for the camera, but things were going downhill in her personal life. She later admitted that she once drove over to Sharina's house and spray painted "Wendy and Kevin Forever" on her walls. Sharina wasn't too happy that Kevin wasn't leaving Wendy for her either. Eventually, in 2018, Wendy reported that she saw a woman with a bludgeoning belly approach her house, take pictures, and leave. She knew that it was Sharina, and this was her way of telling Wendy that she was pregnant. During this time, the public saw a whole other side of Wendy. She'd always been upfront and open about her struggles, but it was obvious that things had gotten out of hand. In 2019, she admitted that she had been residing in a sober living facility. According to Wendy, when Sharina drove up to her driveway to confirm that she was pregnant, it broke her. Her son, Kevin Samuel, was away at college, and she knew that if she called anyone, they'd just tell her to leave her husband. The problem was that she was still very much in love with her husband and didn't want to leave. At that moment, she felt completely alone. So she decided to drink away her sorrows and then drink some more. Wendy also claimed that Kevin came home later that night and found her drunk, and the two got into a violent altercation. Some fans believe Kevin caused Wendy's hairline fracture on her arm. The talk show host continued to appear on television with a sling, but she denied that Kevin had anything to do with it. She claimed that Kevin had never been physically violent with her. While Wendy was trying to salvage the pieces of her marriage, she was also dealing with her health diagnosis. In 2018, the talk show host revealed that she'd been diagnosed with Graves' disease. This thyroid disease can cause tremors, an irregular heartbeat, and fatigue. Wendy infamously fainted on a Halloween episode of her show, and it quickly became headlines. She maintained that it was because of the concoction of medication she was on, but everyone believed that stress had a role to play in it too. To be fair, everyone could tell that she was stressed. In 2019, Wendy had to tweet to confirm to her massive audience that she wasn't on any drugs. Why? Because the quality of her show had taken a nosedive. Wendy would sometimes blabber on end about apparently nothing. This had everyone worried that she might be on some sort of medication that impacted her mental well-being. Circling back to Sharina, in 2019, it was reported that Kevin and Sharina had welcomed a baby girl. That might just have been the straw that broke Wendy's back, and in 2019, she announced that she was finally leaving Kevin. During all this time, Kevin has stayed quiet about the affair and its aftermath. Interestingly, the only time he spoke out publicly was when Wendy fired him. He went on a radio show to blame everyone on the Wendy Williams Show for wrongfully firing him. He claimed that while he was to blame for the affair, the network should have worked it out with him and Wendy. Their marriage shouldn't have affected the show that he, according to him, built from the ground up. 2020 was a hard year for Wendy. It came out that her manager Bernie found her in a catatonic state in her home. He saw that she'd been drinking. While everyone else told her manager that they needed to call 911 to save Wendy's life, Bernie refused. He didn't want Wendy's alcohol struggles to become public knowledge. Her marriage was over, Kevin had started a new family with Sharina, and it seemed like the Wendy Williams Show was on a downward spiral too. 2021 might have been the hardest year of her life yet. It was when her mother passed away. This put a halt to Wendy's plan for a biopic of her life. Her family and friends placed her on an immediate psychiatric hold. This saw Wendy being frozen out of her bank accounts. She blamed her new manager, Bernie, for it. Wendy made a very public appeal on social media, claiming that Bernie had stolen money from her. Of course, she fired him a little while later. As for the future of the Wendy Williams Show, in 2021, Wendy was blindsided by the news that her show would not be renewed. It seemed like the empire she'd built in 2008 came crashing down along with her marriage, family life, and relationship with the people she loved and trusted the most. So from Kevin Hunter ruining everything she'd built from 2008 to how the talk show host launched an empire for herself with the Wendy Williams Show, that was the public unraveling of Wendy Williams.